Hi, this is the video I'm going to work through the questions on maths in design and technology. There are 3 sheets. They're the same questions with different numbers, so I'll do the first one and then follow up with the other 2 whenever you're ready. What I've got is the question sheets and some space to work on because there's not enough space on the sheet to do the work, I don't think. I'm also assuming you're allowed the use of a calculator. Measurement on a product should be 290 millimeters long. The manufacturing tolerance is plus or minus 0.4%. That means I work out what my 0.4% is, and it can be that much longer or that much shorter. So, question 1, 0.4% of 290. Remember, in maths, of is just times, so on my calculator I can literally type in 0.4% times 290. My percent button is there, it's yellow. It depends on your calculator, of course. 0.4% of 290, and I'll have it as a decimal because the question wants it to 2 decimal places, is 1.16. So if my product is 290 millimeters long, I can either add my 1.16 onto the end or I can cut it off. So I need the lower bound and the upper bound. So 290 minus 1.16 and 290 plus 1.16. 290 minus 1.16 is 288.64, and 290 plus 1.16 is 291.16, and they're both millimeters. I think question 1 should say, rather than each step, it should just say the product. I guess that's what the question's trying to get at. Question 2. Okay, so I'll put 288.64 and 291.16. Question 2, let's have a read of this. The table shows the cost for running a product on alkaline batteries versus rechargeable batteries. Okay, the product needs 6 batteries to work. Complete the table. So for alkaline batteries, I paid $2.99 for 6 batteries. Can't recharge. So after 4 battery changes, 4 lots of $2.99. 4 lots of $2.99, and that equals 4 times $2.99, £11.96. Cost to customer after 10 battery changes or 10 recharges, what changes in this case? So 10 lots of $2.99 is £29.90. For the rechargeables, you have to buy the batteries and charger, and then each time you charge them you pay 2p. So the cost after 4 battery changes, well, there's the original cost of the batteries, that's £19, plus 4 lots of 0.02. So I'll literally just type that in, 19 plus 4 lots of 0.02, £19.08. And after 10 charges, well, the 19 stays as 19 because that was the original cost of the batteries, and now it's 10 lots of 2p. So I'll just change my 4 to a 10, £19.20. So the point of this question, I guess, is you can see that although it's more expensive initially to get rechargeable batteries, after 10 charges you're actually saving money because you're paying less. The ratio of solar power to other forms of renewable energy is 1 to 9. So let's write this down. So question 2 I did on the sheet. Question 3, solar to other is 1 to 9. The amount of renewable energy is 79.8 terawatts. So that's the total amount of renewable energy, because it says solar to other. So I'm guessing that the total amount is 79.8. Because it doesn't say the other. So the total is 79.8. So the total is 10 parts. And 10 parts, the total is 79.8 terawatt hours. The units don't really matter because we're just going to stick with those units. What amount of energy was attributed to solar power? That means I just want one part. And of course, 10 to 1 you divide by 10. So I divide my 79.8 by 10. 79.8 divided by 10 is 7.98 terawatt hours. So that's my answer, 7.98 terawatt hours. Some people prefer to do ratio questions as bar models, and that's fine, I can do that. I've got 10 parts altogether, so I could draw my bar, split into 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, one of which is solar, the rest is other, and it's telling me that I've got 79.8 things altogether, so I can see that to get the solar I need to divide the total by 10. So there's the sum that I did, 79.8 divided by 10. It doesn't really matter how you set it out as long as you show you understand what to do. Okay, I'm without a protractor, but we can certainly look at how I'd work the angles out and then have a good guess at how this question would look. I need to know the total, so I'll add those up first of all. So 55 plus 102 plus 23, 180. That's convenient. So the total is 180. So that means there are 180, let's say, people altogether. Red is 55 out of that 180. So the fraction of red is 55 out of 180. Now remember, we need that fraction of my total circle, and the total degrees in a circle is 360. So if that's the fraction of red, all I do is I multiply it by 360. 55 out of 180 times by 360 is 110. So my angle for red would be 110 degrees. Yellow, well, that's 102 out of 180, and I multiply that fraction by 360. 102 out of 180 times by 360 is 204 degrees. And I can just fit it on the bottom, although I don't need to work it out, of course, there's only 3 sections. But let's do it as a check. 23 out of 180 times by 360. 23 out of 180 times by 360, 46. And I can check by adding those angles up that I get a full circle. 360, good. Now, it's no coincidence that 110 is double 55, and 204 is double 102, and 46 is double 23. And of course that's because 360 is double 180. Now, dog's barking, wait a sec. Okay, we're back. Postman, if you're interested. Okay, so to draw these angles, I'd use a protractor, and what I'll do is I'll do another video to follow up when I've got my protractor to draw these angles in. But most of your marks for the question would come from working the angles out. Okay, question 5. What we need to remember here is the area of a triangle is a half times the base times the height. And for a rectangle, it's base times height without the half. So for the triangle, a half of 10 times 12. You can do that whatever way you like. You can do 10 times 12 and then halve it. I'm going to do a half of 10, that's 5. 5 times 12 is 60. And the dimensions are given in centimetres, so it's centimetres squared. And for the rectangle, you just do 15 times 8, which is 120 centimetres squared. Number 6, I'm going to need a bit more paper for, so 5 triangles and 4 rectangles. So let's have a go at that. So 5 lots of 60 is 300, and 4 lots of 120, 400s are 400 and 4 20s are 80, so 480. So that's cut out of a piece of material 990. So I've got my piece of material. It's 990 in total, and I'm cutting out 300 and I'm cutting out 480. So I need to know what percentage of the 990 is the rest. The rest is waste. So I need to know the area of the rest. So I'm going to do 990. I'm cutting out the 300 and I'm cutting out the 480. So what I'm left with is 210. So that's my waste. Now what percentage is waste? Percentage means the amount out of the original amount. So 210 out of 990. Remember in maths, out of is divide. And I write divides like fractions, but you could equally just do that. Write divide on your calculator. You get the same answer. 210 divided by 990 is 0.21. Now the dots mean recurring, they mean it carries on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And to turn that decimal into percentage, you just multiply by 100. So I've done my divide, equals, and then times by 100, and I'll have it as a decimal. To 2 decimal places then, remember the recurring notation, and I'll write 2 decimal places just to be sure. If a question doesn't say, generally 2 decimal places is what's expected. So there's a lot there for question 6. It's knowing that percentage means the amount out of the original amount, and also that out of means divide. Okay, number 7, the volume of a cuboid. In fact, the volume of any prism. A prism is where you have the same shape on one end, and then it's just extruded out. So this would be a rectangle extruded out. This would be a circle extruded out. So one end here times the length. 15. Remember this is a rectangle, and a rectangle is just height times base. So 15 times 20. That's 20 there, because that's 20 there. And then times by the length. 15 times 20 times 20. 6,000 centimetres cubed, because it's volume. This is a circle extruded out. So here I need the area of one end times the length. Pi r squared is the area of a circle, times by the length, and the r we're given. So it's pi times 5 squared times 10. Well, 5 squared is 25. 25 times 10. In fact, I'm just going to type that in. Pi times 5 squared times 10. And I'll give it to 2 decimal places, 785.40. centimetres cubed. So for a prism, which these both are, it's the area of one end times by the length. Area of one end times by the length. Write the size of the cylinder as a percentage of the size of the cuboid. So percentage of means out of. So the size of the cylinder, I think it means the volume of the cylinder and the volume of the cuboid. We'll assume it does. The volume of the cuboid, the cylinder, sorry, 785.40 out of 6,000, and then we times by 100 to turn it into a percentage because it's out of 100%. So 785.40 out of 6,000 times by 100, and let's give it as a decimal, 13.09%. Oops, excuse me. I hope that makes sense, and as I say, I'll come back with a follow-up video when I have a protractor to draw that pie chart. Okay, see you next time.